For all the carefully managed PR stunts, glossy interviews and media rollouts, the unfiltered reality had finally caught up. Meghan's carefully crafted image, equal parts victim, visionary and feminist icon, has, in the eyes of many, collapsed under its own weight. What The Simpsons did with a few frames of animation and a sharp script was shine a mirror on what audiences and industry insiders have long suspected: that Meghan's media empire isn't about elevating others.
When The Simpsons parodies you, it's usually a sign you've made it. But for Meghan Markle, this wasn't a playful jab, it was a public takedown. The satire aired on a quiet Sunday, but by Monday, the internet had exploded. And beneath all the memes and viral clips was a deeper truth. This wasn't just a roast, it was a reality check. One that captured in 90 seconds of animation everything her team has been trying and failing to control. Meghan has always carefully crafted her image: empowered duchess, misunderstood trailblazer, media mogul in the making. But satire doesn't play by PR rules.
I don't like her.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
Everybody who works for her quits. Everybody says she's a bully. She's very nasty. Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a bitch about it to everybody who works for her. When things inevitably start spiraling downward, she blames everyone but herself.
It cut straight to the core. And what The Simpsons revealed wasn't a royal rebel, it was a brand in free fall. The parody character arrived in full Meghan mode, clutching a tray of vegan cupcakes, sporting a forced smile, and armed with a podcast filled with vague affirmations. She declared herself a trophy queen in a mock royal blessing that turned sacred tradition into satire. It was sharp, uncomfortable, and undeniably effective. The internet lit up. Clips from the episode flooded TikTok. Twitter trended. YouTubers broke down every frame. But while the world laughed, Meghan reportedly did not.
Work so hard. The moment that everything sells out, it doesn't mean that we're done. It means we're working on replenishment and what are the next SKUs and what's the next tranche of products and what's the timing on that, and writing the newsletters and writing the social media captions and making sure that all that feels in line and what's the cadence of it.
Sources say her inner circle scrambled to downplay the moment. But privately, she was livid. Not because it was outrageous, but because it was too close to home. What made the roast land so hard was an exaggeration. It was accuracy. This wasn't a fictional lampoon. It was a mirror held up to a public persona that's become so polished, it started to reflect nothing at all. The deeper problem behind the satire? Meghan's content empire is built on one voice. Hers.
She's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout. Like she's completely camera ready. And she also is pretending that she's crying. There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
And it's wearing thin. Take the Netflix show Pearl, an animated series that aimed to empower young girls. Or Love, Meghan, the now canceled lifestyle series, blending wellness, royalty, and California vibes. Both were hyped. Both were canceled. Neither made it to air. Insiders say Love, Meghan was lifeless, too scripted, too controlled. What was meant to feel warm and relatable came off like a corporate brand presentation with soft lighting. Netflix execs reportedly lost faith before it even launched.
They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm gonna put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends.
They wanted authenticity. What they got was aesthetic perfection with zero soul. This isn't an isolated case. Meghan's projects repeatedly center her as the glowing visionary, the wounded survivor, the misunderstood genius. But without real substance or conflict, even the most high-budget ventures feel hollow. Then there's her podcast journey. From archetypes with Spotify to the more recent Confessions of a Female Founder, Meghan has tried to establish herself as a thought leader. But each attempt has followed the same flawed pattern.
I've never seen someone that struggles to just give us like one strip of authenticity.
Overproduction, shallow interviews, and an overwhelming focus on Meghan. The goal may have been to amplify other women's stories, but leaked production notes and clips show a different story. Guests were reportedly interrupted, their experiences sidelined, so the spotlight could swing back to Meghan's own reflections. One podcast guest joked off-record, "I felt like a warm-up act for her monologue." Spotify, initially thrilled to partner with royalty, soon grew disillusioned. After a few dozen episodes, the $20 million deal fell apart.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about, and there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live.
Executives wanted meaningful content. Meghan wanted full control. And when the feedback turned critical, she walked. Again. Behind Meghan's media ventures is a recurring theme: control. And it's not working in her favor. Industry insiders paint a troubling picture. One of a public figure so tightly managing her image that creative collaboration becomes impossible. She's uncoachable, one Netflix producer allegedly said. It's her way or no way. This rigidity has created tension even among her own teams. A streaming executive told Variety that working with Meghan felt like walking through a PR minefield.
And this was one of the most every mother out there will understand. She wants us to put together a fruit crudité board for our children in the morning. Now, look, Maureen.
I can't.
Look at this.
I can't.
Suggestions could be interpreted as microaggressions. Feedback had to be filtered through layers of approval. Nothing could be spontaneous. Everything had to be branded. Even partners with good intentions found themselves pushed aside. Meghan's strategy wasn't to co-create, it was to dictate. And when that doesn't produce results, the blame gets redirected, usually to the platform, the audience, or the media. When the Simpsons episode aired, Meghan's team allegedly complained behind the scenes. The show, they argued, was sexist, a tasteless attack on a woman of color trying to uplift others.
You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous.
But this time, the backlash backfired. Prominent feminist writers and former supporters pushed back hard. Feminism isn't a free pass for mediocre content, one columnist wrote. If you're using empowerment to shield yourself from criticism, you're not empowering anyone. This marked a major turning point. Meghan's messaging, once seen as bold and necessary, now felt like marketing. Instead of leading conversations about race, gender, and representation, she had reduced them to Instagram captions and podcast sound bites.
40 minutes into the podcast, this little picture, quite a grainy picture, flashed up, which shows a basket of, homemade preserves with a card on it, HRH, Duchess of Sussex, Meghan.
The words were still there, but the sincerity, that was fading fast. Not long ago, Meghan and Harry were the hottest media property in the world. Their deals were massive. Their every move was breathlessly covered. But today, the calls are slowing, the meetings are fewer, and the people who once cleared their calendars are now politely declining. A Netflix executive said it bluntly: every pitch ends with Meghan on a pedestal. That's not a story. It's a brochure. And audiences, it turns out, don't want to be sold. They want to feel something. Meghan's content doesn't move people. It markets to them. Producers are whispering what fans have been posting for months. The magic is gone. Not because Meghan is controversial, but because she's predictable. Every project Meghan launches feels eerily familiar. She's always the hero, always misunderstood, always glowing with curated wisdom. But there's no arc. No evolution, no change. The Oprah interview, a revelation, until the timelines fell apart. The documentary, glossy but soulless. The podcasts, heavy on slogans, light on substance. Even her so-called children's projects lack any meaningful depth. According to leaked feedback from Pearl, her animated series was described internally as structureless and self-centered. The pattern is clear. Meghan wants to lead the story, not live it, and viewers can sense the difference. Without vulnerability, there's no authenticity. Without conflict, there's no connection. And without those things, there's no audience. It's not scandal that's bringing Meghan down. It's something quieter and far more dangerous: indifference. Her UK approval rating is in free fall. In the US, even progressive outlets are growing weary. Once passionate defenders are turning into skeptics. TikToks, Reddit threads, and YouTube essays all echo the same frustration. We wanted to believe in her, but we're tired. Tired of curated struggle. Tired of empowerment without action. Tired of being sold a narrative that never changes. The applause has stopped, not because people are angry, but because they've stopped caring. In entertainment, that's fatal. Meghan Markle had the kind of opportunity most public figures dream of: a global platform, royal recognition, a fresh narrative outside the palace. She could have been a cultural force. Instead, she built a mirror. She constantly speaks of being silenced, but rarely stops speaking. She pushes for change, yet avoids vulnerability. And in a time where relatability is currency, Meghan's brand feels like it was printed in a boardroom. Compare that to others with similar reach. Michelle Obama's podcasts and memoirs feel personal, not packaged. Serena Williams gracefully shifted to business, motherhood, and advocacy. Even Harry, when alone, comes across as more grounded. The difference? They allow space for imperfection. Meghan doesn't. The spotlight Meghan once commanded has dimmed, not because of one scandal or explosive headline, but because she forgot the first rule of storytelling. It's not about you. The path to redemption exists, but only if she's willing to do what she's avoided all along. Let go. Listen. Be real. That means moving from performance to purpose, from branding to honesty. Until then, each new project will feel like déjà vu. Each interview will echo the last, and each opportunity will quietly pass her by. Because the truth is, audiences don't need more Meghan content. They need a reason to care. And right now, that reason is slipping further away with every silence, every flop, and yes, even every cartoon.